So Joyce is it? There we go. We got this. Let's start with the first time I've ever done. Sure.
All right, the Honorable County Commission meeting is now open. Pursuant to adjournment, the Honorable Ricky Bennett will preside.
Thank you, Sheriff. Take this opportunity to welcome you all this evening. Unusual situation. We'll talk a little bit more about how we're going to try to handle it later. So right now, I will surprise my good friend Joe Herron. Joe, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Let us bow, please. Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for the safety in which you've guided us. We're thankful that the coronavirus is on the downslide. We're thankful for our health officials that's given us good information to keep us all safe. We just ask that your hand of protection will be upon us. I'm thankful for all of the ones here tonight. Just asked you to give us wisdom as we do the people's business, that we will vote according to your will, not ours, the things that you want us to do. We asked you to be with our military, our first responders. And
muted.
Thank you for the many blessings that you give us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Sheriff, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please have a seat. And I know some of you are not in your regular seats, so we're not going to be able to use our normal system. When you want, just a few ways we'll try to do this. When you want to be recognized, just raise your hand and I'll try to see you, and I'll ask everybody to help me. I'll try to keep my eyes around the room. When you want to speak, if you will push your button, I won't be able to do that for you because some of you are at different places. So when I recognize you, if you'll push your button and then go ahead and turn it off when you're through. Sam's going like this. Sam, I'm going to have to ask the back row to speak up. And if you'd like to stand, it probably would help. We've got one microphone back there. Commissioner Crawford, I didn't see you. I didn't pass over you on the invocation on purpose.
Well, that was good. That makes me feel better.
You've got your mask on. I didn't recognize you.
That makes me feel better that I'm so small you can't see me anymore.
Okay. Well, we'll pass that mic around. We have. I see on the screen Commissioner Calton and Commissioner Crosswhite joining us. Do we have any others, Bobby?
Got a bunch, but that's the only two cameras on.
Okay, very good. Well, those commissioners who are joining us electronically, wave at us or just go ahead and speak up. Don't worry about interrupting us because that's what we're going to have to do tonight. I appreciate you all having masks on. I appreciate you all keeping a social distancing that the governor has asked us to do. And we will get through this as all votes will by necessity be roll call votes. So if you'll just answer yes or no when the clerk calls your name. I think that's all. And I need to say that this meeting is authorized under order number 16 and number 22, section 5 of orders issued by Governor Lee, which allows us to have electronic meetings. So we're having a hybrid electronic attendance meeting. So needed to say that. So our next item will be roll call. So I hope our clerk has brought her some cough drops and throat lozenges because we'll call on her a lot tonight. So Madam Clerk, if you will, if you will take the roll.
Akerd. Blaylock. Broughton. Houghton.
Here.
Cole. Cole absent. Crawford.
Here.
Cross.
Here.
Crosswhite.
Here.
Gardner.
Here.
George. Glover.
Here.
Harper Road. Harper Road absent. Heron. Hutton.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
King.
Here.
Leonard. Locke.
Here.
Morrell.
Here.
Stanley. Stanley absent. Starnes. Stidham.
Here.
Vance.
Here.
And Woods.
Here.
21 present, 3 absent.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Next item on our agenda, we have some, I always reach for my phone when I hear one. We have a couple of guests that would like to address the commission on various things, and the first person I'd like to call on would be Sheriff Jeff Cassidy. Sheriff Cassidy, if you welcome, and we're happy to have you with us tonight.
You want to hear it too?
Terry Harper lives on.
Just stand at the podium, Mayor, be okay? Be back here, okay.
That'll be fine, Sheriff, or you can walk up a little closer if you'd like. You don't need the podium probably. You probably don't have a prepared speech, so
No,
you
no,
don't
it's
need
not,
that podium.
it's not prepared. I was going to elaborate a little bit about our school resource officer, what the wonderful job they're doing while the school's out. Of course, they've taken on a lot of additional responsibilities with the pandemic we're going through, but one of my school resource officers responded to a 2-year-old child that fell through a glass table. The glass penetrated his brachial artery, and my EMS guys here know that bleeding out can just take minutes. But I got a call from the doctors, EMS, and if it wasn't for the quick response of that school resource officer, the child would be dead. And also I want to thank the commission, because I don't know if you remember, but we moved money around to gain those combat tourniquets about a year ago, and the tourniquet saved that boy's life. So I just want to thank all of y'all, because y'all don't get the appreciation. You don't realize when you do give us the tools necessary to do our job efficiently, you don't get that thanks. But I want to thank everybody here. I didn't want to take much of your time, but just wanted to say great job. 2-year-old boy, life's been saved, and the mother is very appreciative, and wanted to send thanks to you guys. So I just want to take a little bit of your time, but I appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner Crawford.
Yeah, but he had prior law enforcement experience. Yeah. Exactly. The combat tourniquets are very important, and Mark Vance and Hunter Locke and some of your EMS guys will tell you that out in the field, to stop that bleeding is necessary within minutes.
This conference will now be recorded.
The school resource officer was there in 5 minutes, applied that combat tourniquet. The ER doctor actually called me the next day and said if it wasn't for the correct application of that tourniquet, which we train them in, it would have been a mortal wound. And the 2-year-old's doing good. He's getting some nerve damage repaired in his bicep today, but he's happy and healthy. So that's a great collaborative effort from you guys. We really appreciate you all. And I know you all don't hear it like, elected officials. We don't, but good job, and I appreciate everybody.
Thank you, Sheriff. Jeff, let me add the thanks of the commission on the essential work that your department has done over the last 6 to 8 weeks. We know they've been extremely busy, and we appreciate their dedication to the job. And also, I might say on the our corrections department, please pass our congratulations on to them for the good job they're doing on keeping the virus at bay. Next, I'd like to ask Sullivan County Health Department Director Gary Mays. Gary, if you were to give us a brief update, or as long as he needs, quite honestly. I know all of you might have questions for Director Mays, and he and Dr. May have done an extraordinary job in the last 6 weeks. And again, they're essential people, and they've worked long hours. So, Gary, welcome, and we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to take questions or answer questions about the coronavirus or COVID-19 in Sullivan County. And before I make a lot of comments, I really have to say what an outstanding job our citizens in Sullivan County and our local governments have done in response to this, because I can tell you that the mayors have met countless hours with us at the health department, working on plans, making decisions. And I can tell you that the staff at Sullivan County Health Department has been working 40 and 60, sometimes 80 hours a week on this issue. And it's been a long 2 months so far, but you can't help but be encouraged, I should say, with where our situation is. Unfortunately, we've had one death in Sullivan County. We have one that is hospitalized. And we have probably about 5 to 8, I haven't checked the numbers today, active cases that our health department staff is monitoring, and we're in contact with them frequently in Sullivan County. So our citizens are doing a great job, and we are very glad to be where we are. The Tennessee governor and the government of Tennessee is providing masks. I see many of you wearing those tonight. Starting next week, we'll be distributing those to our citizens in Sullivan County, because many people can't afford masks or even find a mask to use. And so we're very thankful that the government has provided those. So I just can't say enough for the city of Kingsport, Bristol, and Bluff City, and our own Sullivan County government. Mayor Venable and all the city mayors have done an outstanding job and been extremely great to work with. And I failed to mention our school systems have been fabulous, all 5. I know we think of Bristol, Kingsport, and Sullivan County. We have 2 private systems that we work with at the health department, and they've been outstanding as well. So I'll be glad to take questions, Mayor, if that's appropriate, or if that's whatever you wish.
Commissioner Herron.
Gary, the gentleman that asked, have you been out of the area overseas?
That unfortunately, that was related to travel, yes.
Any other questions? Todd, you're recognized.
Turn the mics on.
Oh, sure.
I know that everybody in here, and I think the general public, is ready to get back to some sort of normal, whatever that new normal may be. And I think we all fully expect the number of cases to go up a little bit with this starting back up. Is there a magic number you all are looking at where if it hits a certain level, we'll cut back on the reopening?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a very common question. And we're doing everything we can to keep those numbers from going up, of course. But there isn't a trigger point, is what most people want to know. Well, if we get to this number, does that mean we fall backwards or move forward? It's really, you have to look at the whole picture of what's going on in terms of your clusters. And I know these are technical terms. I don't mean to get technical, but in terms of your clusters, your cases, and how they're connected, your hospitalizations, the acuity of the patient. You kind of have to look at the overall picture of many numbers and not a particular number to understand what the disease is doing and everything in our own community. And then you have to really look at what the state in Southwest Virginia is doing as well. And so you kind of have to look at the big picture. And I think that's the way our state government's looking at it. What I see for somebody at the ground level is all 89 rural counties and the 6 metro counties working together, along with the state government and local governments. Been really proud of that fact and the way that we communicate and stay together on things and understand each other as a region. So I feel really good that all of us have a handle on the situation. And as long as we keep encouraging the message to not spread the disease, it's very important. Important factor in this disease is called R0. And that's a lot of times it's spreadability. So this virus in Northeast Tennessee has an R0 of 1.6. In some parts of the state, it has an R0 of 5. What that meant in flu has an R0 of 1. So everybody understands flu because we've had flu. But this disease is more contagious and very easy to spread. So what you all are doing tonight, staying 6 feet apart, wearing a mask, keeping your hands clean, not touching your face, is very important. 80% of the people that have COVID don't know they have it.
Any other questions for Gary? Joe?
Are there any other tests for COVID-19 other through the nasal passage or getting other tests?
Yeah, currently we are, thank you for raising that question. Currently we're doing what's called diagnostic testing, testing someone that could be symptomatic or if they have COVID-19, a diagnostic type test. We've been doing that. We've tested, this is not an accurate number, but I'm going to say around 1,500, pretty close to that number today. And we're continuing to test. Ballot Health System is also doing diagnostic testing. We do not have antibody tests, which I think might be what you're referring to. It's in the news a lot. And so right now there's only 12 labs approved by the FDA to do antibody testing. There's probably 200 labs out there advertising to do antibody testing. So we will be doing antibody testing, I hope, in Sullivan County as soon as we get the authorization, get the labs, get the capacity. There's a lot of backside things that have to happen. And so I predict we'll be doing antibody testing and diagnostic testing in a few weeks.
Commissioner Carver.
Gary, are you finding any parts of the county that is more susceptible for disease than other parts?
Yeah, that's a good question. We look at it by zip code and by area. We're looking for cluster type movement or density and so on and so forth. So the answer is no, not really. We haven't. Good question, though.
Anyone else? Gary, let me, if I could just say a word about what Gary and Dr. May have been doing. And there was some confusion a few weeks back when the governor recognized the independence of the 6 counties, the 6 metro counties, and Gary's health department is one of those. And so Dr. May issued an order on behalf of Sullivan County after conferring with all local officials. A few days later, the Attorney General Slattery issued an opinion that the governor's order prevailed in all cases. And a couple of days later, the governor said those 6 metro counties are independent. So during that time, Dr. May and Gary and I, and conferring with others, decided it was in Sullivan County's best interest and the best interest of our neighbors that we all proceed at the pace that Governor Lee has said. We still retain that right of independent action. When Dr. May feels like we can take a step and protect the community, that we can maybe open a little more, he's free to do that. That is his decision. And only through his work and through Gary's work have we been able to get things open. I think the governor has been driven by things that he hears from Northeast Tennessee. And because, quite honestly, our results have been outstanding, our citizens have answered the call and kept our infections low. And it's purely because they have answered the call. And I know there's a lot of rhetoric about seeing people at the Walmarts and the Lowe's and places like that. But on the whole, we have 157,000 people. So if we have a few people at a few stores in Kingsport or Bristol, that doesn't mean the other 156,000 are not adhering to what we need to do. So we've got things open today because we've done a good job. Gary and I have talked about this. What we need to do now is continue to do a good job to keep those businesses open. We can go back. Is that right, Gary? If we have more infections, we would have to go back and possibly close up. So we need to encourage our citizens. Go ahead, if you.
Well, I just wanted to say, you're correct, Mayor, but that is, if we go back, that means we're in a serious situation. And we just do not want to go there as a community. And we just need to protect our community, protect our people. And you've got to understand that the health department is these 8 cases that are active in the community require constant follow-up and contact, and they're in isolation. And as more people get sick, that is the most important component that public health can do. That's how you kind of keep the disease from spreading. So you're right, Mayor, we can go back, but I think as a community, we've been strong together, and I think we'll make it. I think we'll be in phase 3. I hope before too long.
Sam.
Gary, I know you're following protocol. Outdoor
Yeah.
Are those getting more? Are we
Well, right now we're the question is, can we be more accommodating, I guess, for outdoor events? And so where we are is in phase 1 in the Tennessee pledge, and the governor has issued a lot of guidelines that are very good. The state has done a really good job. The state has done a really great job in issuing their guidance. So here's the answer to your question. So we still have to have no groups larger than 10, and we still have to maintain 6 feet apart, and everybody should be wearing a mask. And of course, the hygiene question or a hygiene practice, and that's where we are right now. So,
how can you do a church?
Well, in the guidelines, there were some exemptions made for houses of worship or churches, and some other things, and those are technical answers, but they're in the guidelines. But these outdoor gatherings and outdoor sporting events and things like that are not part of guidelines.
Anyone else?
Yeah, we've been taking, we keep account with our phone system, and we get about 380 calls a day, just like those questions that Commissioner Jones asked. And our staff over there have been doing that. We get well over 1,000 some a week of just all kinds of questions. And I want to say it's a very important service for the citizens of Sullivan County, because since February, we've got thousands of calls. And so that's important. It gives us intel what people are thinking too, because, like they ask that question repetitively. So it helps us message what to the public what they're interested in too.
Any other questions for Gary? Gary, I want to thank you for what you and Dr. May have done, and
Thank you for the team. Thank you.
and please pass on our thanks to EMS. I know they're working long hours too. Call volume is down some, but we know that they're out there. So thank you for coming tonight. Next on the agenda is the approval of the commission minutes from the previous meeting. I believe you've had those spread to you electronically and on your desk. We have a motion for adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting. Commissioner Morrell, Commissioner Woods, Commissioner Stidham, second. Any discussion, corrections? I cannot call for a voice vote. By the rules, we have to have a roll call vote. So I will ask the clerk to take the vote on the motion to adopt our rules. Commissioner Stanley, there's a seat right over here that you're distancing. Right over there. If you prefer. Madam Clerk.
Akerd,
Yes.
Commissioner Akerd votes yes. Blaylock? Commissioner Blaylock votes yes. Broughton?
Yes.
Commissioner Broughton votes yes. Calton?
yes,
Commissioner Calton votes yes. Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole votes yes. Crawford?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford votes yes. Cross?
Yes.
Commissioner Cross votes yes. Crosswhite?
yes,
Commissioner Crosswhite votes yes. Gardner?
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner votes yes. George?
yes,
Commissioner George votes yes. Glover?
Yes.
Commissioner Glover votes yes. Harkrow?
Yes. Said yes.
Commissioner Harkrow votes yes. Heron?
Yes.
Commissioner Heron votes yes. Hutton?
Yes.
Commissioner Hutton votes yes. Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones votes yes. King?
Yes.
Commissioner King votes yes. Leonard?
Yes.
Commissioner Leonard votes yes. Locke?
Yes.
Commissioner Locke votes yes. Morrell?
yes,
Commissioner Morrell votes yes. Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley votes yes. Starnes?
yes,
Commissioner Starnes votes yes. Stidham?
Yes.
Commissioner Stidham votes yes. Vance?
Yes.
Commissioner Vance votes yes. Woods?
Yes.
Commissioner Woods votes yes. Would anyone like to change their vote? 24 yes.
Have received necessary majority. Motion to approve was adopted. Next up, public comment. We have not had anyone sign up on the public comment sheet we had outside. The plan was just to have people that wanted to address the commission to wait outside until we call them. We will continue to do that until we change our rule on public comment, and we might want to consider that at some of the meetings because of just the logistics of it, but nobody signed up tonight. So we will declare the public comment section closed. Next item is the approval of notary publics. So Madam Clerk, when you're prepared, would you read the list of nominations for notary public?
Settle in because it's long. I think we have 93. Robert Forrest Abdul, Christy Ann Armstrong, Denise Arnett, Keisha Barrett, Dylan M. Barton, Judith A. Bellamy, Kimberly D. Bishop, Jan C. Black Ramey, Sarah Branch, Angie Brooks Harris, Amy Denise Campbell, Melissa Marie Sullivan Carl, Charlotte Carter, Darlene Clendenin, Tanya Elizabeth Crawford, Sandra David, Shamba Dennis, Scott Denton, Olivia Denton Smith, Deborah Dinsmore, Joshua Dockery, Sabra Donahue, Susan K. Dotson, Mark Ketron Draper, Tanya Ellsworth, Marcia Ann Fandle, Christy L. Fannin, Vicky K. Fields, Becky Fleener, Kelly Four, Connie Arlene Fox, Jamie E. Fuller, Daniel E. Gasparovich, Wanda Wallen Gilliam, Melissa A. Greer, Carter Elizabeth Grimm, S. Hall, Karen L. Hawk, Bridget Hendricks, Evelyn Hicks, Kenneth Clyde Hill, Tara Hilliard, Dana L. Hutzel, Derek C. Linkus, Danielle Martin, L. Carter Massengill, Suzanne McConnell, Gregory K. McDavid, Rhonda Lee McGee, Dion Jensen Mears, Margaret Lenora Miller, Michelle L. Morgan, Rebecca J. Myers, Pamela S. Neal, Barbara W. Overbay, Martha Y. Parrish, Denise Wood Perkins, Joy M. Peters, Mary Ruth Phillips, Kelly Pearson, Angel L. Pruitt, Tara Rafalowski, Charlotte H. Reed, Dawn Reagan, Nikki Rice, Rhonda Adora Rock, Mark Russell Rogers, T. Arthur Scott Jr., Cheryl Seymour, Chad A. Smith, Kimberly Dawn Smith, Timothy Michael Smith, Tara M. Smith, Robin S. Smith, Kevin Allen Smith, Jeffrey Wayne Sneed, Michael Gaines Stafford, Catherine Steffen, Joseph M. Stevens, Andrew D. Street, Dolores A. Sullivan, Hallie Taylor, Orban Taylor, Brianna K. Tiller, Jessica Leanne Tilley, and Nathan Baum.
You've heard the list. Are there any objections or to any name read? Mr. Cole.
Motion to approve.
Move to adopt Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Crawford, and Heron second. Trish, I believe somebody wanted to hear the list again. Not really. We have a motion on the floor to adopt as read. Any further discussion? Seeing none, after you get your breath, you will take the vote on the motion to adopt the list of no Republicans.
Akerd,
Yes.
Commissioner Akerd votes yes. Blaylock?
Yes.
Commissioner Blaylock votes yes. Broughton?
Yes.
Commissioner Broughton votes yes. Calton?
Yes.
Commissioner Calton votes yes. Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole votes yes. Crawford?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford votes yes. Cross?
Yes.
Commissioner Cross votes yes. Crosswhite? Crosswhite?
Yes.
Commissioner Crosswhite votes yes. Gardner?
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner votes yes. George?
Yes.
Commissioner George votes yes. Glover?
Yes.
Commissioner Glover votes yes. Harper Road?
Yes.
Commissioner Harper Road votes yes. Heron?
Yes.
Commissioner Heron votes yes. Hutton?
Yes.
Commissioner Heron votes votes yes. Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones votes yes. King?
Yes.
Commissioner King votes yes. Leonard?
Yes.
Commissioner Leonard votes yes. Locke?
Yes.
Commissioner Locke votes yes. Morrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrell votes yes. Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley votes yes. Starnes?
Yes.
Commissioner Starnes votes yes. Stidham?
Yes.
Commissioner Stidham votes yes. Vance?
Yes.
Commissioner Vance votes yes. Woods?
Yes.
Commissioner Woods votes yes. Would anyone like to change their vote? 24 yes.
Having received necessary majority, the list is approved as adopted. Next up, orders, appointments, and elections. Today we have an order to appoint board members, and if I may, I'll read it. Whereas the Sullivan County Board of Equalization is composed of 5 members, and 3 of those members are elected by the Board of County Commissioners. And whereas those members' terms currently serving on the Sullivan County Board of Equalization will soon expire, and each of the following individuals are willing to serve on the Board of Equalization, and whereas due to the timing of the training seminar for the members of the Board of Equalization in Tennessee, it is of the essence that elections be made in a timely manner. Now, therefore, be it ordered, judged, and decreed by the Sullivan County Board of County Commissioners in their authority to appoint members to said Board of Equalization, that the following individuals are hereby appointed to serve 2-year terms to expire in June of 2022. Joe F. Arnold, 541 Gammon Road, Kingsport, Tennessee, 37663, is a reappointment. Robert Skip Green, 210 Spring Street, Apartment A5, Blumpville, Tennessee, 37617. The third seat is unoccupied, and we are looking for nominations for that seat on the Board of Equalizations for the Property Assessor's Office. If you have some questions about what that board does, and you might know someone who might have an interest in serving, please, we need to fill that very quickly if we can. And would you, any questions you have, please refer to our property assessor, Donna Whitaker. Commissioner Morrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to just add something to what you said, Mr. Mayor. Both these reappointments, I've served with one of them for several years. They both got a lot of knowledge. Mr. Arnold certainly has a lot of knowledge on the board. And Mr. Green is actually retired from the state of Tennessee with Department of Division, and he certainly brings a lot of knowledge and stuff to the board and keeping him and everything. But anyway, I would like to move that we go ahead and vote on these. I think the seminars they have to go to is right around June the 1st, if memory serves me correct. So
you just need a motion, right? Do you want to make that motion?
Yes, sir. I make a motion, and plus, don't want these guys to change their minds. So,
right.
Probably need to
kind of a thankless job sometime, isn't it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Morrell. Commissioner Morrell moves to adopt the report. Commissioner Stanley, Commissioner Colette George, second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on the appointment of the identified individuals. Madam Clerk, would you take the vote on the motion to appoint the gentleman? Yes.
Commissioner Akerd votes yes. Blaylock? Yes. Commissioner Blaylock votes yes. Broughton?
Yes.
Commissioner Broughton votes yes. Calhoun?
Yes.
Commissioner Calhoun votes yes. Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole votes yes. Crawford?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford votes yes. Cross?
Yes.
Commissioner Cross votes yes. Crosswhite?
Yes.
Commissioner Crosswhite votes yes. Gardner?
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner votes yes. George?
Yes.
Commissioner George votes yes. Glover?
Yes.
Commissioner Glover votes yes. Harkrow?
Yes.
Commissioner Harkrow votes yes. Herron?
Yes.
Commissioner Herron votes yes. Hutton?
Yes.
Commissioner Hutton votes yes. Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones votes yes. King?
Yes.
Commissioner King votes yes. Leonard? Commissioner Leonard votes yes. Locke?
Yes.
Commissioner Locke votes yes. Morrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrell votes yes. Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley votes yes. Starnes?
Yes.
Commissioner Starnes votes yes. Stidham?
Yes.
Commissioner Stidham votes yes. Vance?
Yes.
Commissioner Vance votes yes. Woods?
Yes.
Commissioner Woods votes yes. Would anyone like to change their vote? 24 yes.
Having received the necessary majority, these two gentlemen are appointed to the Board of Equalization for the term ending 2022, and I ask our property assessor, Ms. Whitaker, to notify them of the successful candidacy. Next up are is the resolutions agenda. We have two resolutions in old business, and so we might as well get right to them. I'd like to recognize Commissioner Herschel Glover on item number 2.
Thank you, Mayor. This particular resolution, I think we're still waiting on a couple of guys from Nashville to give us some final information on this. And I'd like to have this rolled the week after next, if that's fine.
Thank you, Commissioner Glover, and I would like to just come in if I could. Commissioner Glover and Council Budget Director, Mr. Bailey, have worked feverishly on this, and it's a very complicated issue. And they've worked to bring you a private act that is easily understood and easily implemented and fits all state laws. So Herschel, thank you for your work on this.
We hope to get this to all the commissioners hopefully next week, so you'll have plenty of time to read on it, and if you have any questions, follow up on it with us. Thank you.
Very good. Without objection, we'll roll this for the first item on the calendar and next regular scheduled meeting of Commission on 21st of May. Next up, Commissioner Hutton on item number 3 on today's agenda. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. This resolution, we've talked about it at some time past. It's basically asking for an extension for the agreement that we signed onto a year ago to put sewer line down Weaver Pike in accordance with the sewer agreement. But what it does is actually it zeroes in on that particular project, makes a bilateral agreement between the city of Bristol and Sullivan County. It doesn't extend the sewer agreement per se. It just allows this particular project to be accomplished in a decade when funds are available. It's not asking for additional monies. It's not asking to do this right now. It's asking to extend the time for this particular project to be completed. I'm open to any questions about it.
Commissioner, had you filed amendment number 1?
I'm sorry?
I may be confused. I didn't know if there was. That's another resolution I looked at. Thank you. Okay. You heard the explanation. We have a Commissioner Hutton moves for the adoption of item number 3, seconded by Commissioner Akert. Any questions for the sponsor? Any questions before we vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, we're ready to vote on item number 3 on today's resolution agenda. Please take the vote.
Akert,
Yes.
Commissioner Akert votes yes. Blaylock? Yes. Commissioner Blaylock votes yes. Broughton?
Yes.
Commissioner Broughton votes yes. Cowthon?
Yes.
Commissioner Cowthon votes yes. Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole votes yes. Crawford?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford votes yes. Cross?
Yes.
Commissioner Cross votes yes. Crosswhite?
Yes.
Commissioner Crosswhite votes yes. Gardner?
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner votes yes. George?
Yes.
Commissioner George votes yes. Glover?
Yes.
Commissioner Glover votes yes. Harker
Yes.
Commissioner Harker votes yes. Heron?
Yes.
Commissioner Heron votes yes. Hutton?
Yes.
Commissioner Hutton votes yes. Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones votes yes. King?
Yes.
Commissioner King votes yes. Leonard?
Yes.
Commissioner Leonard votes yes. Locke?
Yes.
Commissioner Locke votes yes. Morrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrell votes yes. Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley votes yes. Starnes?
Yes.
Commissioner Starnes votes yes. Stidham?
Yes.
Commissioner Stidham votes yes. Vance?
Yes.
Commissioner Vance votes yes. Woods?
Yes.
Commissioner Woods votes yes. Would anyone like to change their vote? 24 yes.
Having received necessary majority, item number 3 is adopted as presented. That concludes our old business. our new business today, I believe we, just as an aside, I believe we have requests for waiver of the rules on most of them because, as you know, Mr. Jones, you're recognized.
Are we not going to deal with these two rezoning requests?
I'm sorry?
Are we not going to deal with the two rezoning requests?
No, I'm sorry. I should have announced that when item number one, we rolling item number one to the next meeting. At the request of planning and zoning and the applicant. So those will be heard as item number one in the May 21st meeting, Sam. Thank you. And I appreciate you calling that to my attention because 2 years from now, somebody said, wonder what they did with item number one. So we've got the record straight. Thank you. Under new business, item number 4, I recognize Commissioner Crosswhite and Commissioner Cole. Commissioner Crosswhite, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for letting us do this from home. I appreciate it. This resolution is to appropriate funds and purchase real estate adjoining the county property, whereby Garth Blackburn, owner of property located at 125 Anderson Street here in Blockville, has offered to sell the land and house.
Good morning, Avoca Church.
It
is so good to be with you. My name is Jeremy, and I am joining you from Berthoud, Colorado. I'm good friends, really good friends with Jeremy Sears. He's one of my best friends of all time, and we go back many, many years. Our family has done a lot of church plants together. We have sang many of worship songs together, and so I have a near and dear place in my heart for the whole Sears family. And, you know, Jeremy Sears actually asked if I would come and lead worship with you this morning. And I was like, how great is that? We're in this weird season where the church is virtual.
And the Board of County Commissioners of Sullivan County assembled in regular session thereby authorizes the county mayor and purchasing agent to negotiate a sale price with Mr. Blackburn for the real estate located at 125 Anderson Street. Based upon right now, we've got current appraisal. I want to amend that to ask for asking price. It is further resolved that the board hereby appropriate funds not to exceed the amended again asking price to purchase the real property at 125 Anderson Street. Sullivan County Mayor is authorized to execute all contracts and closing documents required to complete the transfer of the real estate. Count codes to be signed by the Director of Accounts and Budgets. So does anybody have any questions?
You heard the motion. I'm going to have to make a list and I will do that. What I saw first was they've asked the asking price, Ms. Crosswhite, and I believe that's $150,000 is what Mr. Blackburn